Hey guys, okay, so now that you've heard the mentor text, on the next one you're going to get that mentor text and you'll need to annotate. So I want to revisit really fast about annotations, why we do them, what annotations are, and how to actually annotate online. Because before now, most of you guys are probably a little bit more used to like circling and highlighting stuff on your page, but we're going to be doing this online. So basically all of this is part of something called close reading. The idea of close reading is when you have a reading passage that you really need to break down and understand. Close reading is best on more difficult reading passages or reading passages that you really need to break down and understand the parts of. For example, like in a reading test, hey, like the one you have on Friday, I wonder why we're doing this. But also just to help you, like if you find you feel like you just can't quite get what's going on, this is a really good way to do this, to understand. So for when you're close reading, some things to do are to read the text at least 3 times. You want to go in reading with a purpose. You don't just like start it and you're like, yeah, let's see what this is all about. So our purpose today going in is going to be to look for things that stand out, things that confused you, look to see if you can understand what's going on. What do you think about it? You'll annotate the text. You're going to talk about the text, which we're going to do tomorrow. You gather evidence from the text, you use that as evidence, like to support points that you're making. We'll do part of that today and part of that tomorrow. You'll learn new vocabulary. There's usually a word or two that you may not recognize. Sometimes there's more. And summarize to answer questions. So that's like reading test. So we're really going to focus here on the annotate the text part. So as a reminder, annotating is when readers make notes and they like put little flags or stars, or they highlight important details while they're reading. Sometimes they also make notes out in the margins. So why do we actually annotate? Annotations can help readers focus on what they're reading. As somebody that has ADHD and has been dealing with that most of my life, annotating when I'm reading, not like a fiction book or a graphic novel for fun, but if I'm reading something really interesting, like I loved this book called 180 Days. To help me stay focused, a lot of times I don't just highlight, but I also like make notes out in the margins. I swear I didn't do this like just for this. I actually do annotations in real life. So this is something that I love. That's why I put a heart around it. I make notes. Sometimes I get angry. So these are all annotations. Sometimes I think something is really interesting. So they help us focus. They help us understand the details of a text. They help us keep track of our thoughts and feelings. So when I go back to this, which is a professional development book, I'll know what I was thinking when I read that. They also help us keep track of important details. That's where I was highlighting. They help us prepare for discussion. My cousin also read this book, and we've kind of gone through it together. So it helped me remember what I thought and felt and look back through what I wanted to say. It also helps us prepare to write about a text if we're going to write about it. So this is something real readers do. It's not just something for English class. And you'll find that you actually do this a lot in high school when you're asked to read for homework. And in college, it is one of the best tools you can have to help you focus and make sense of things that are a little bit difficult to read. So here's an example of what annotations look like in an actual novel or a book. I'm never going to ask you to do all the sticky notes there. That business looks crazy to me. But some of you guys really like the sticky notes. You can put sticky notes in your book with something that you're processing, highlight important things, make notes out to the side of what's happening. Just to help you kind of remember. Star things that you think are really important or that stand out. Here's another example. I don't know about you guys, but when I annotate, I actually love to draw pictures in the margin to help me process what's going on. It helps me visualize. So if you like to draw pictures or even just like stick figures, that can be a really good thing to do. Alrighty, so when you're doing your annotations, you can just do symbols sometimes, like a question mark. If you put a question mark out to the side, that might mean I have no idea what this is saying here. I don't understand what's going on. If you put an exclamation point, it might mean, whoa, that was really surprising. That was really interesting. Obviously, the heart will mean that it's something that you found really interesting and you love it. If there's something you're like, oh my gosh, that's like me, you could put a C that it makes a connection. I don't do that one very often. I usually will like out to the side, I'll write, that's me, or that me, it me. And then main idea, just important stuff you can put a star by. and evidence. And we'll talk about text evidence a little bit later. You can also just flat out write in the margins. So I'm just going to include this slideshow on the next thing because I don't want this video to be too long. But basically, you can write in the margins to make connections. This is from Avid, by the way, Avid peeps. To clarify stuff, to ask questions of what you're reading, to help visualize what's actually going on. You can also draw pictures in the margin to help you visualize. You can respond. Maybe they said something that made you angry or made you like laugh out loud. You could write LOL or draw an angry face. Or you could summarize out in the margins. I usually only do summarizing when there's a whole lot of information that I want to remember. Sorry, I'm talking really fast. That I want to remember in like one sentence. Or if there's a lot of information and there's no way I'm going to remember it all, I'll try to see if I can summarize it in a sentence or two. Okay, so some things, it says conversational moves, but these are great things to write out in the margins for your annotations. You could circle apart and say, hey, I noticed here that, or you could say, I connect to this particular scene because. You can also write a question mark out in the margin instead of saying, what's going on here. You could say, you know, I wonder if in real life, if this happened, ... You could say, I was confused when. Another thing you could write in the margin might be, I predict that, or the main idea might be. And then the idea here is it's going to help you answer, it helps you process things. But when it does come time to taking reading tests, which is, you know, a tiny fraction of when we actually are like reading, it's only its own type of reading, like, you know, 3% of the time. The idea though is it helps you make connections from the details of what you're reading to the bigger pictures, as well as to your own life. So when it says evidence-based terms, the idea is you're finding the smaller details in that writing, you're processing it to help basically make those inferences, make those connections, which we'll get into very soon, probably a little bit more tomorrow. We'll talk more about inferences tomorrow. All right, guys, that's a wrap. That's annotations. And the way you're going to actually annotate, it's almost a wrap. The way you're going to annotate on your specific, I'm just clicking everywhere, huh? The way you're going to annotate on your specific student work is going to be like this. You need to go to, let me go to your actual page here. So you'll go to your student work page, which is the next page after this video. And I'll put the slides in here so you can see the slides I just went through. But then you're going to have a button down here. It'll either say load student work or it'll say launch external tool. Once you click that, you're going to see the little button that says Google Assignments. It's going to have, do you guys see at the top of my screen there, that little slide symbol? It's going to have that slide symbol. It's going to have your name and it's going to say excerpt from Counting by Sevens. Click on that. Do not click new or create or submit once you click on that assignment because you already have it here. This is what's going to pull up. Instead of it saying copy of excerpt, it's going to have your name there, and that's just your copy. So you're going to actually get to annotate this slide all on your own, which is pretty fancy. To annotate in slides, you're going to use the shape tools. You're also going to use the text box, and then you'll connect the two with a line. So let me do like 2 examples with you really quick. Please do not use these examples when you are annotating your own text. All right. So I want to go to Insert, Shape, and I think I kind of like this like rectangle with the rounded edges. So excerpt from Counting by Sevens by Holly Goldberg Slint. Well, I'm going to highlight this. Why is she highlighting the author? She's so weird. I can't see it. Obviously, I just blocked it out, right? So we have to change that shape really fast. Once you like actually click off of the shape, you'll see, or I guess click on the shape, you'll see this menu over here. Find the bucket. And we don't want a gray fill. We want a transparent, like a see-through fill. So once I click that, we can see this. Now you see the shape. I don't like that gray. I want to make that prettier. I like purple. And maybe I want my line to be a little thicker. So I'm going to say I want a 3-pixel line. So there it is. So the thing is, I need to know why you guys are picking particular things to do your annotations. So you're going to go to Insert, then click on Text Box. Click out to the side, just anywhere out to the side, like actually off of the slide, and write down what your note is. So my note here is, I've read things from this author before. Short, that's the book I read, was pretty funny. So this is my annotation. It's a connection to my own life. Does that count as an actual annotation to the text? Well, yeah, because as soon as I read this author's name, I was like, hey, I've read something by her before. So I need to connect these two things. You're going to go back to insert. You're going to grab a line right here, line, click on line. And then I'm going to draw a line from here to here. And that's it. The lines can stay gray. They're fine. You can, if you want to change their color, you can change those like up here and stuff. So I can make it purple. I can make it thicker, you know. Okay, let's do another one real fast. I'm going to go back to insert shape. Actually, it's a lot easier if I just take this shape and I copy it. Control C. That way I don't have to keep like making the lines purple and taking away the inside. So instead of going back up to shape, I just copy this one. Okay, Mrs. King had just plowed her way through popular picture books. So I'm going to go all the way down. The moon can't hear someone say goodnight. It's 235,000 miles away. So I'm going to paste my box. I'm going to come grab it. And I want to do this particular part right here. So I need to put my text out to the side. I'm going to go to Insert, Text Box, click out to the side, and I'm going to type, oh my. So I'm writing my thoughts. So something that like popped into my head when I read this for the third time was, oh my, this person, whoever our narrator is, takes things very literally, meaning she takes things like at their face value. She thinks that when you're reading the book Goodnight Moon, for example, which I don't know, maybe that's the book. Maybe you have a guess on what book this is. That could be an annotation. She takes things very literally. She doesn't really get kids. So I found that really interesting, something I noticed. I'm going to go to, actually, I'll just copy this line. Copy that line. I'm going to do Control C. I'm going to paste this line, Control V. Drag it here. Make the line actually fit. There we go, perfect. So I just want to see what you guys think about this. I'm not looking so much for like writing moves right now, like with dialogue and quotes. I'm just looking for things you notice. So if you're like, oh, I don't know what to put, Mr. Matter, you're crazy. That is why I left the slides in here for you guys. So you can go right over here so you can ask questions, find surprising. So this is like a reminder for you guys. You can put stars next to main ideas. Here's some really good things that you could put out in the margins. You can start sentences like this. I wonder, I noticed that. And do things like something because, for instance. That doesn't make sense. That'll be easier for me to show you. So let me grab this one more time. Let's do one more example. So let's do a because, something I noticed because, or a for instance. Right here where she says, I was at some kind of breaking point. Dude, I could say so much about this. I think you guys could say, you could make a connection to your own life where you had a breaking point. You could predict what you think she's going to do next. You could tie it to why she's at her breaking point. All of those would be good examples. So I could write, I think she's at her breaking point. So she's about to do something dumb or stupid, right? Because a lot of times when we get to our breaking point, we just act out. And then you would connect that with the line. There is not really a wrong way to annotate. So just one last reminder, I would do it by connecting things to your own personal life, making marks of like, you could just put in an annotation, wow, that was really interesting. Or put a question mark and say, I don't understand what's going on here. So just tell me what you notice. Give me 6 things. So you'll have 6 of these things out in the margin. Give me 6 things that you personally notice. You got this. Send me a message if you have any questions, or Mr. Elmore or Ms. Stevenson. Good luck. Remember, after you do this, it saves automatically. You'll go back to your Google assignments and click submit, the blue submit button so you see all the confetti. And then you can click the next page and move on to your reflection. All right, I'll see you later. Bye for now.